Rose and her entourage decided to stage a fake emergency at a busy shopping mall. The plan involved Rose pretending to be trapped in an elevator that was malfunctioning, while her friends live-streamed the rescue and her dramatic reactions. They hired actors to play emergency responders and even had fake smoke effects to make it seem more dangerous. What they didn't account for was how realistic their performance would be. Real emergency services were called. The mall had to be evacuated. Hundreds of people fled in panic, thinking there was an actual fire or structural collapse. In the chaos, an elderly woman fell and broke her hip. A child got separated from his parents and went missing for hours. The fake smoke triggered asthma attacks in multiple people. Worse still, one of the smoke machines malfunctioned and caused a real fire that spread to a clothing store, and the fire completely consumed the store before firefighters were able to put it out. When the truth came out, the fallout was catastrophic. Rose wasn't just losing followers, she was facing criminal charges. Fraud, public endangerment, filing false reports, and a dozen other charges I couldn't even pronounce. The civil lawsuits started rolling in immediately. My name is Harold, and for as long as I can remember, I've lived in the shadow of my older sister Rose. Growing up, it was painfully obvious who the golden child was in our family. While I buried myself in textbooks and homework, dreaming of a stable career and a quiet life, Rose commanded attention simply by existing. She was beautiful, charismatic, and had this magnetic quality that drew people to her like moths to a flame. The favoritism started early. I remember when I was 12 and Rose was 15, I had spent weeks preparing for a regional math competition. I came home with a first-place trophy, bursting with pride, only to find my parents fawning over Rose's new Instagram account.
Oh, Rose, you look absolutely stunning in this photo. Look how many likes you're getting already.
My daughter's going to be famous. I can feel it. Hey, I won first place at the math competition today.
Honey, maybe you should apologize.
My trophy sat forgotten on the kitchen counter for weeks before I finally moved it to my room. That was the pattern. My academic achievements were background noise to Rose's social media presence. When Rose turned 16, it was like a royal coronation.
Happy birthday, my beautiful girl. Just wait until you see what's outside.
Come on, everyone, let's head to the driveway. There, under a giant red bow, was a shiny used convertible. The crowd of family and friends screamed as if she'd won the lottery.
Oh my God, are you serious? A car? This is the best birthday ever.
She cried happy tears while Mom filmed her reaction for Instagram. Me? I clapped quietly at the edge of the crowd, wondering if anyone remembered my birthday was 3 weeks later. When my day came, there was no party, no crowd, just a $20 bill shoved into my hand. Here, Harold, buy yourself something nice. Thanks. I spent the evening eating leftover cake from Rose's party. That was my sweet 16. It wasn't just birthdays either. Even vacations revolved around Rose. We had a family beach trip planned for months, something I was genuinely looking forward to. But 2 days before we were supposed to leave,
Guess what? I got invited to an influencer mixer in LA. This is my big break. We have to go.
Of course, sweetheart, the beach can wait. Hollywood doesn't.
this is networking, Harold. It's important for her career. But what about our trip? You promised.
Don't be selfish. This isn't about you.
So instead of relaxing by the ocean, we trailed after Rose through crowded LA streets while she posed in front of murals.
Hold the ring light higher, Harold. Her makeup isn't catching the glow.
Smile, Rose. This one will blow up for sure. I spent most of the trip in the hotel room, finishing essays on my laptop while they lived in Rose's world. To them, I wasn't a son or a brother. I was just the guy holding the camera when her hands were full. When I graduated high school as valedictorian, my parents attended the ceremony, but spent most of it on their phones, helping Rose respond to comments on her latest post. When she dropped out of college after one semester to pursue influencing full-time, they threw her a party.
I'm going to be the next big thing. College is just holding me back from my dreams.
We believe in you, sweetheart. You don't need some stuffy degree when you have natural talent. What about finishing your education? Having something to fall back on?
Fall back on? Harold, you're so negative. Some of us are meant for greatness, not hiding behind calculators all day.
While I worked my way through accounting school, living on ramen noodles and determination, my parents bankrolled Rose's lifestyle. Professional photo shoots, expensive clothes, the latest camera equipment. Nothing was too good for their future star. By the time I became a chartered personal accountant, Rose had indeed achieved a measure of success. She had nearly 500,000 followers across various platforms, brand deals, and what appeared to be a glamorous lifestyle. But up close, it was toxic. She surrounded herself with a rotating cast of sycophants who fed off her success. Friends who only showed up when she was picking up the tab, boyfriends who used her for clout, and yes, even our parents had become part of her entourage. I tried to distance myself from the circus. I had my own apartment, my own clients, and my own life. But Rose seemed to take personal offense to my independence.
Look at my boring little brother. Too good for his own family now that he has some fancy job.
I'm not too good for anyone. I just prefer a quieter life.
Quieter? You mean more pathetic. When's the last time you had fun, Harold? When's the last time you lived?
I live just fine, thanks.
Whatever. At least when I'm really famous, I'll remember where I came from. Unlike some people.
She had this way of making my contentment sound like a character flaw. At family dinners, she'd regale everyone with stories of her latest collaborations while I sat quietly eating, occasionally fielding questions about boring tax stuff. The few times I tried to share something about my work or personal life, the conversation would inevitably drift back to Rose's world. Then things started to go wrong for her. In her desperate attempt to stay relevant and edgy, she began pushing boundaries. She made several videos with what she thought was edgy humor, but they came across as racist and tone-deaf. The backlash was swift and brutal.
It was just a joke. People are so sensitive these days.
Honey, maybe you should apologize.
Apologize? For what? For being real? For not being fake like everyone else?
But the damage was done. She lost thousands of followers, brand deals evaporated, and suddenly the golden child wasn't looking so golden anymore. That's when she turned to me.
Harold, I need your help.
With what?
Content ideas. You're smart. You went to college. Help me figure out how to get my followers back.
Maybe you should consider a different career path? You could go back to school, learn a trade.
Are you insane? This is what I do. This is who I am. I just need one viral moment to get back on top.
Against my better judgment, I found myself brainstorming with her. Maybe it was seeing her genuinely panicked for the first time in her life, or maybe I was just tired of the family drama affecting everyone. If you really want attention, it would have to be something outrageous. Something that gets people talking, but in a good way this time.
Like what?
I don't know. An elaborate prank? Something so unexpected and over the top that it goes viral for being creative rather than controversial.
That's actually not terrible. Thanks, little brother.
I thought she'd come up with something harmless, maybe a fake treasure hunt or an elaborate joke on her friends. I should have known better. Rose and her toxic inner circle took my innocent suggestion and twisted it into something monstrous. For a brief moment, I thought about trying to step and say something to save her from herself, but after being treated like an afterthought for so long, I decided that the better option was to watch it all play out and just enjoy the show. Rose and her entourage decided to stage a fake emergency at a busy shopping mall. The plan involved Rose pretending to be trapped in an elevator that was malfunctioning, while her friends live-streamed the rescue and her dramatic reactions. They hired actors to play emergency responders and even had fake smoke effects to make it seem more dangerous. What they didn't account for was how realistic their performance would be. Real emergency services were called. The mall had to be evacuated. Hundreds of people fled in panic, thinking there was an actual fire or structural collapse. In the chaos, an elderly woman fell and broke her hip. A child got separated from his parents and went missing for hours. The fake smoke triggered asthma attacks in multiple people. Worse still, one of the smoke machines malfunctioned and caused a real fire that spread to a clothing store, and the fire completely consumed the store before firefighters were able to put it out. When the truth came out, the fallout was catastrophic. Rose wasn't just losing followers, she was facing criminal charges. Fraud, public endangerment, filing false reports, and a dozen other charges I couldn't even pronounce. The civil lawsuits started rolling in immediately. The woman who broke her hip, the parents of the lost child, the mall for lost revenue, the city for the cost of the emergency response. Everyone wanted their piece of Rose's rapidly shrinking empire.
This isn't fair. It was just a prank. Nobody was supposed to get hurt.
Rose, what were you thinking? This stunt got so out of hand that you're looking at potentially 15 years in prison and damages that could exceed $2 million.
$2 million? I don't have $2 million.
That's going to be a problem. Our parents, who had spent years funding her lifestyle, suddenly found themselves facing financial ruin as well. They had co-signed on some of her business loans and were being named in several of the lawsuits. The golden child had become a liability. But Rose wasn't ready to face the consequences. While out on bail, she came up with one final terrible plan.
I'm leaving the country.
What do you mean leaving the country?
I mean, I'm getting out of here before they can throw me in prison. I know people who can help me disappear.
Rose, that's insane. That'll just make everything worse.
Worse than 15 years in prison? I don't think so. And don't you dare try to stop me, Harold. You've done enough damage with your stupid prank idea.
She actually blamed me for her disaster. After years of being the overlooked sibling, after watching her destroy herself and drag our family down with her, she had the audacity to make me the villain in her story. That night, I made a decision that surprised even me. I called the police and told them about Rose's plan to flee. I gave them her flight information, her fake passport details that she'd bragged about, everything. They caught her at the airport, trying to board a flight to a country with no extradition treaty. The failed escape attempt added more charges to her already lengthy list. When she finally went to trial, the judge wasn't sympathetic. Rose, your actions showed a complete disregard for public safety and the well-being of others. Your attempt to flee the country demonstrates that you feel no remorse for the harm you've caused. I hereby sentence you to 12 years in prison, with the possibility of parole after 8 years.
This isn't fair. I'm not a criminal. I'm an influencer.
You were an influencer. Now you're a convicted felon. The golden child was finally tarnished beyond repair. Our parents, financially and emotionally devastated, had to sell their house and move into a small apartment which they struggled to afford. They barely spoke to me after they found out I was the one who tipped off the police about Rose's escape attempt, which I was honestly okay with. But for the first time in my life, I felt free. Without Rose's chaos dominating every family interaction, without her constant need for attention and drama, I could finally breathe. I focused on my career, started dating someone wonderful, and began building the quiet, stable life I'd always wanted. Sometimes I wonder if I should feel guilty about turning in my own sister. But then I remember all the people she hurt, all the damage she caused in her selfish pursuit of fame and attention. I think about the elderly woman who still walks with a cane because of Rose's prank. The truth is, Rose had been heading toward this destruction for years. I just happened to be the one who finally said enough was enough. My parents still send me updates about her appeals and parole hearings, but I've learned to delete those emails and messages without reading them. I've built a life that doesn't revolve around Rose's drama, and I intend to keep it that way. For the first time ever, I'm not living in anyone's shadow, and it feels absolutely perfect. Thanks for watching.